So what I've gotten over the past few months, I feel like, really all of quarantine low-key, is that we're kind of raging hypocrites when it comes to our stances on parasocial relationships. And we're not really thinking about it in the grand scheme of things. Most of us don't understand the meaning. And even the people who understand the meaning are saying they don't like something that they actively encourage and buy into. And when you're saying, I don't want parasocial relationships, we don't like that, that's a bad thing. But then buying a plushie of your favorite creator because they're not problematic in your eyes, then when they get problematic, it's crazy of why the fetuses feel close connection to them as they're clutching, Markiplier plushie at night. Not specifically him, but you get what I'm saying. Hi guys, it's Luna and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about parasocial relationships. I found an Urban Dictionary definition, and we're going to wait off of Wikipedia. And then I'm going to tell you what I think this is supposed to mean. I explain to you why you may use the word parasocial relationship, or is that one word? You may use the phrase parasocial relationship, and you might think that they're all terrible, or you think that they're unhealthy and things like that. I think I thought the same thing you thought, but I want to tell you a little bit of a different perspective on it and why my mind is kind of not as solid on this matter as it was before. Let's go off of Urban Dictionary. Always a trusted source. Parasocial, a buzzword being used to reference a creator and influencers forming and encouraging unhealthy relationships with their fans, usually used in the context of young audiences feeling they have a relationship with the influencer due to a huge amount of the influencer's content they consume. The influencer in question, however, is unaware of the fan's existence other than the general knowledge of having fans. Common example includes, of course, Dreamstand, because it really is the best example. I feel like that's a pretty good summary of what I think people mean when they say parasocial relationships. Not necessarily what I think is actually happening when they say it, but let's go to Wikipedia now. Parasocial interactions refers to a kind of physiological relationship experienced by an audience in their mediated encounters with performers in mass media, particularly on television. Viewers or listeners come to consider media personalities as friends despite no or limited interactions with them. PSI is described as an illusionary experience such that media audience interacts with personality, TV show host, celebrity, fictional character, social media influencer, as if they engaged in a reciprocal relationship with them. A parasocial interaction, an exposure to garner interest in a personality, becomes a parasocial relationship. After repeated exposure to the media personality causes the media user to develop illusions of intimacy, friendship, and identification. Positive information learned about the media personality results in increased attraction, and the relationship progresses. Parasocial relationships are enhanced due to trust and self-disclosure provided by the media personality. Media users are loyal and feel directly connected to their personalities, much as they are connected to a close friend by observing and interpreting their appearance, gestures, voice, conversation, and conduct. Media personalities have a significant amount of influence over media users, positive or negative, informing the way they perceive certain topics and even their purchasing habits. Studies involve that's enough I can read. So just reading the definitions of parasocial relationship and the interactions and how that manifests, I believe there are levels to this. I think when we think about parasocial relationships, we always think about the actual end goal of it and the most extreme version of that. We're thinking about fucking hardcore dream stands. You're the reason he's trending on Twitter when he breathes.
Thank you.
You're the reason his merch sales are up the roof because you bought everything he's ever put out. You're the reason Minecraft skyrocketed again because Dream said, I'm playing this game, you're like, alright, I'm playing this game too, as much as you, and I will copy everything that you do. I have Dream merch that you didn't even come out with because I just wanted extra stuff to feel close to you type creepy shit. Which, let's be honest, that's usually kids. But again, this can work with fictional characters as well. And even if we go with the extreme example, just using that example, what if that person was an actual fetus? Because we don't think about it even in that aspect. What if that person was like my niece? For example, let's say she liked, well actually no, I know for a fact she loves PJ Masks. What do you mean? I could turn on PJ Masks at any point and be like, you want to watch PJ Masks? She's watching it. We'll be quiet, won't move. She got a belt. She has PJs actually. She has like the little submarine that the one evil guy has. I could give her all of that and she'd be mad happy with it. She's a baby. She believes she has a true connection with these characters. She may not totally understand her feelings because obviously she's literally a kid. Like she's like, what, 3 now? Like, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's exactly like parasocial relationship. Obviously she's a fetus. She doesn't entirely think that they're real. But my point would be, from a young age, we tend to make connections that aren't really there because that's how it's supposed to be. That's the whole point of marketing, or even just making something entertaining for someone else. Like if they wanted to make private projects for themselves, they probably wouldn't show you. Their point is to reach that audience. And even if just like, oh well, they're not real, these are like cartoons, kid shows, you know, that type of thing. Don't act like you haven't like fallen in love with a boy band before. A picture of who they are, and trust me, they are marketed as like, this is Todd, he's like a nerd and he's into all this stuff, and basically they're like idols and like you're gonna love him and he's just like this in real life. Now whether they are or aren't is, you know, up for debate.
Would you do me? I'd do me. It'd do me so hard.
But that's a normal thing that everybody does. Make personal connections that, let's be honest, we are all cringy teens that borderline on fucking creepy. We make these connections towards people that we do not know. We all have at least, well, if you're normal enough, you've been in a parasocial relationship with somebody. We make it as if it's this abnormal thing when we're literally, like, that's how marketing and entertainment work. They do that to us all the time. That's how they make their money, is for us to make those connections. We'll buy their shit. And we always think of the most extreme example that like they're gonna try to kill somebody, and it's like most people are the extreme example. They just don't do dumb shit on top of it, if that makes sense. They're not trying to necessarily cancel somebody on Twitter or all this type of stuff. That's just stupid people. I think we always attach that to it just being the parasocial relationship when it's not. It actually is the opposite. It's for a different reason. It's like me having anxiety but not wanting to do my homework, and people assume, oh, that's a symptom of anxiety, me not wanting to do my homework, because a lot of people don't want to do their homework and they also have anxiety. And it's like, no, I just have anxiety and don't want to do my homework right now. That's like, they're two separate things. They're both just living inside me and coexisting. Like, I can have one without the other. But people tend to think of it as like me having my anxiety and not being able to sleep. I have, like, actually right now it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I have shitty insomnia when my anxiety goes through the roof. I don't sleep. That's the cause from my anxiety. If I did not have my anxiety, best believe I'd go to sleep right now. But because I'm anxious for reasons that aren't important right now, it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm not tired. And I won't be tired because my brain is active. But don't get me wrong, I'm not ignoring that the extreme examples don't get fucking extreme, like some Dream fan, like some BTS hardcore fan, like someone just talked about on Twitter how their puppy died, and I'm underneath the tweet posting a fan cam type shit. Don't get me wrong, that happens often and that's a thing, but that's also because they have personal problems, because there's a lot of fans who have the same exact love but do not do crazy shit like that. But what really got me to change my mind about this whole situation isn't even the extreme examples, it's small ones, because the small ones are where we kind of become like dangerously hypocritical and why it gets confusing for the fetuses we're talking to. Let's be honest here. Look me in my eye. You can't see my eyes, but look me in my eye. You can't say you hate parasocial relationships, people who encourage them and think that the whole concept is weird, but then have your favorite YouTubers merch on and it's a picture of their face. And don't give me the, oh well, that's different, that's supporting a creator, that's different. They don't have to have merch with their face on it for you to support them. They don't have to have a plushie of themselves for you to support them. But just because they do, does that make them a bad person? Does that mean if I buy a plushie or a figurine or whatever, like, does that make it like a weird thing? Does that make it predatory? Does that make it weird? No. And people do that all the time, especially influencers. That's not what makes it predatory. There is the opportunity for them to use that power they have over their fetuses for something negative or to just do some foul ass shit. But there's also an opportunity for a piano to fall on my face. Does that mean the piano's gonna fall? It's not Tom and Jerry. That's not to say it doesn't happen. It's just, my point is, just because something can happen as a result of something does not mean that that thing is inherently bad or that we have to just block that thing out altogether. It's like saying we shouldn't interact with people because we could possibly be murdered by them. Yes, you probably shouldn't go down a fucking dark alley unless absolutely needed. Like there's something actually down the alley. But again, that's on the more extreme cases. We're not talking about going down a dark alley and then like at 2 a.m. in the morning. I'm talking about when I walk to the store in the middle of the day and there's some person who obviously had some problems going on throwing an apple and being highly aggressive, that I stop interacting with them after they threw the apple at me, even though I told them I had to go. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's midday. There's nothing I can really do about me walking down the street. I have to walk down the street. I don't drive because I don't have money like that. It's a pandemic. I take the bus. Cereal companies do it all the time with like putting a mascot like Lucky from Lucky Charms as like the person you're attached to. You're not attached to the brand Lucky Charms. You're attached to the person Lucky Charms. And they know that because the person Lucky Charms will get them more money. Let's be honest, the difference between Lucky Charms and off-brand stuff is little to nothing. Maybe personal preference, but let's be honest, it was more of how it was marketed towards you and that shit is just stuck in your mind and the character and the colorful lights are just swindling you. Does that necessarily mean that you're gonna worship Lucky? No, but just that little tiny connection you've made with this character over the years helps influence your decisions. Now, when it comes to the fetuses that this really affects and that this really, I guess, falls upon in the sense of it being a problem, we should really be teaching them more common sense communication, context, to read it into context, to have critical thinking skills. We should be teaching them more what to do than, oh, just don't have a parasocial relationship. Don't have this totally normal thing you have every day. That's weird. Because they're going to. When you have somebody that let's be honest, when you have somebody that you see and hear about more than your own family, you're going to have that connections. That's the thing I don't think people get. I watch, listen to, give money to YouTubers more than I fucking even know what my cousins are doing right now. And that was even before the pandemic. Most of us don't see our parents on a daily basis, but we'll see YouTubers on a daily basis. We'll listen to their life stories. We'll listen to them talk for hours about absolutely nothing because we enjoy their content. If you're telling me or any person, no, it's weird that you have some weird relationship with this person you see more than your family, you put more work into that relationship than you do anybody else, not just for your benefit, for theirs. Let's be 100%. Without your fans, you'd be nothing and you wouldn't be making the money you would have, and you would have to go get a job that's out in the world that sucks ass, and you wouldn't have the opportunities you have now. Let's be 100 here. It's for both of our benefits because I get content, you get cash. To tell me it's weird for me to feel like this is a cool person, this person's pretty dope, I actually like them, they seem really cool, and to have some form of relationship is actually insane. Watch this person every day and don't get somewhat connected to them. You guys don't even do that with anime. Literally with cartoons and anime, we get connections like that. But you guys will sit here and make fan art, boast about it, buy body pillows, get really connected to a fictional character, but you're telling me it's weird? You're weird. You're dumb. That's really dumb. If you're telling me not to believe everything someone says, that's totally understandable. I don't care if that person was my family member. I'm not believing you point blank with no evidence, no context, no nothing. Teach these kids critical thinking skills, how they should be acting, things like that. Don't give them something that's literally impossible for their burning balls of trash fire brains to comprehend. It's literally like telling 5-year-olds, don't eat this, don't touch this, don't go in here for the rest of your fucking life. But they see it, they're in front of it, they're actually strapped in a chair looking at it at all times, but you're just like, don't even touch it. The first thing they're gonna do is touch it. It's not even like they can help it. It's literally an involuntary thing. And even if we want to break it down further, it's not weird. We don't know our friends. It's like, oh, well, they're in real life and we talk to them. And people can lie to you, you know that, right? But we can maybe vet it. No, I've lied to people so much. When I was younger, I would lie to get out of situations. People that think they know me know nothing. They know nothing. All you know is the person that I've portrayed myself to be. People act like people are manipulative out here until then they're manipulative. Then it's, oh, well, they gaslighted me. I can't believe they would do this, so out of the ordinary. Everyone's like that. Doesn't matter if they're behind a screen or right next to you. You do not know people. Your bestie, you think you know them. Most of the time you don't. This is why we have best friends, like we have Thanksgivings. It'd be every year, at least on Thanksgiving, it's the same food. You got a different best friend. And, you know, it gets better when you're older, but most people be trading out best friends like it's trading Pokemon cards. It's a whole thing. It's really not a thing you can't do. It's easier for me as an adult to be like cut off with that type of shit. But again, asking someone who's younger to do that is exceedingly harder, if impossible. Yes, obviously, someone can, and I'm not ignoring this. People can take advantage of those kids and the relationship they have with the creator. But you can also be murdered. But I also could fall down a flight of stairs. That doesn't mean that's going to happen. And again, when you're telling a kid to do something they literally almost cannot control because their brains are on fire, first of all, they're only going to want to do it more. Second of all, you're not giving them the tools they really need to not get taken advantage of. Stop telling them to do something that comes naturally to them and tell them, hey, I need you to critically think of this. This person did something that everybody is universally saying is bad, or hell, is illegal, or there's evidence that says that what they're doing isn't the best thing. I can understand if all the evidence didn't come out, if you don't know and so you just want to believe this person is good. That's kind of understandable. But once you see the evidence, or once the evidence is out, you take that evidence and you make an informed decision. If you don't understand that evidence and you can't take the time to do that, then I would just stop supporting that creator just in case. If your fetus mind cannot take the time to really grasp, understand, or even just take the time to look at the shit, just be like, just in case, until I hear otherwise, I'm not following you anymore. There's even times for me where I've been like, man, I don't want to read about this specific thing, and I just don't support that person. I don't go harass anybody. It's never okay to do any of that. Anytime. I don't do any of that shit. I'm like, hey, I'm just not gonna watch this person when I do have the time, when I can't understand it, or until I have someone who understands to explain to me to where I can understand it. I'm just gonna not support this person. It's not gonna watch their content. It's not hard. It's not. Also, a hypocritical part of this is also the amount of respect you want randos on the internet to give you. I get it. We all want people to be a decent person, and to some extent I can kind of, having a stroke, I can kind of understand what people are trying to do. But a rando on the internet doesn't owe you anything. They owe you no kindness. They owe you no decency. So you demanding it and actually taking taking the parasocial relationship you swear you hate and using that to be like, well, you have to be nice to me. Well, it has to be this. You're very demanding of things people don't need to give you. You lose me quickly when it's like, don't come to my page and be hating on this thing, or don't come here and disagree with me, or I don't like that I made this public post. I know I'm posting public content, but I don't want to hear shit from anybody. And it's like, that's not how this works. Well, at this point, people just are able to turn off their like mentions and shit. So the best you could do at least is that, which is really, it defeats the purpose of this type of thing, kind of, because you could just make your page private. But I guess it does work for people who want to just send messages to a bunch of people like their friends and family, but don't want that. But even then, it's still public, so everyone can still see it. So it really does defeat the purpose. But at least you could do that. I'm being very cynical here, and usually I would agree with this, but in this context of this video, no one has to be nice to you. So yeah, if I come and say what you just said was the stupidest thing of life and this is real shitty, and I don't explain, and I don't give a proper critique or some bullshit, I don't give a proper criticism, I don't have to. I don't care if I'm a fan of you or not. I don't, like, this is supposed to be respect, and it's like, no, I can literally just say what you said is shitty and walk away. I could call you a shithead. I could call you a dumbass. I could say whatever the fuck I want because you're not my friend. I don't know you. Now, don't mistake what I'm saying. And shit goes both ways. Somebody could blast you if you say they suck. So don't just be popping off on the mouth on somebody. Like, you can just say whatever you want and nothing will happen. But you can say whatever you want. I can call somebody whatever. I can say whatever. And they can shit on me. They can blast me, whatever. But I could also just not care because you're a rando on the internet. Why should I give a fuck? People act like they have, like, people aren't just faceless nobodies to them. It's like, well, people are people on the internet. You shouldn't be mean to somebody. You shouldn't. Not because it's the internet or because they're people on the interwebs, because you should be a decent person to everybody. But guess what? In reality, in the real world, we aren't decent people to everybody. We've all gotten frustrated with somebody at McDonald's, or not McDonald's specifically, but gotten frustrated with the ice cream machine breaking, knowing damn well it's nobody's fault but fucking McDonald's, but we still get mad at the people that are working in fast food. We still get angry. We're people. We have emotions. We're not just soulless beings that can just hide that shit. We're all human. So as much as we want to be like, we should be nice to everybody and be considerate to everybody, we're not gonna be in real life. And like, if you go outside and look at other people, everybody's not gonna say hello to you. Everybody's not gonna have a bright smile on their face when they see you. People are more likely going to either be annoyed or bothered by anything that you do that even slightly inconveniences them. So while on the internet we take it as some personal attack or personal offense, and I mean like little petty shit, I'm not talking about like people harassing other people, I just don't really get it. But I don't have to be nice to you. It's literally like saying you have to be nice to random strangers. I don't have to be nice to random strangers on the internet. I don't have to be nice to random strangers on the internet. I really don't. I call you a shithead all day and eat my ass. You could call me a shithead back. And it's crazy because when that does happen, people then use their parasocial relationships with their audience to then go harass people. This isn't everybody. I'm thinking of specific people when I say this, but I'm not gonna call it situations because it'll start some shit. And I don't have patience right now. I might talk about them. I don't know. This video might even come out late. I don't know. It depends. But that will happen, and I'm just like, yeah, parasocial relationships are terrible when they don't benefit you, huh? In conclusion, because this is fucking long as shit, I think that parasocial relationships aren't the problem. The abuse of those relationships are. And I think we're kind of confusing it because it's became this buzzword, because it's become like the new thing to just throw around. We're confusing people abusing their power with people having that power. And really, we don't need to use that word because it's really not necessary. If someone is using their audience to attack people, to defend their weird predatory behavior or whatever the shit may be, if they're doing that, just call them on their shit. Because I think, for me anyways, when you get mad at Dream for having a parasocial relationship, but you're okay with Corpse Husband saying I love you to his fans, you start looking like a hypocrite. You start sounding like I I'm just saying, you start sounding pretty sus there. But I do see in a lot of context people saying I hate parasocial relationships as I see their next post garnering a parasocial relationship or trying to get a parasocial reaction or interaction rather out of their fans, or I'll see them talk about how they hate parasocial relationships as they're wearing a person's face on their shirt directly by their fucking chest and with their whole chest saying I fucking hate this thing. Let me adjust this face real quick, it looks wrinkly. I fucking hate parasocial relationships, I can't. Or I'll see them generalize it to all the creators they don't like, but ignoring all the creators they do like. And again, it confuses people, mainly children with no real opinion for themselves, because surprise, surprise, they end up having a parasocial relationship with the person talking about the parasocial relationships. And because the person doesn't explain or barely knows what they're talking about, now the kids are confused and it all just goes into a weird cycle. Again, I'm not saying you can't not like parasocial relationships. I just feel like we're all hypocrites about it. And I just wanted to get my feelings out on it. I don't really care if this changes your mind or you feel a different way about it. I just felt like saying it. It's 4 in the morning. I can't sleep. I don't know what y'all want from me no more. Anyways, I think that's all. Tell me how you feel in the comments. Low key, I've been bored lately, so I've been drawing a bunch of people's OCs. So hey, if you want, just DM me your OC to draw. I'm game. I'll just draw your OC and then send it back to you if I decide to draw it, because I've been just in a weird funk. Anyways, I will see you guys later. Hate you guys so much.
We could have been stardust, same world but without us.